Game one of the Western Conference Finals. Dustin Brown gets the game winner with a beautiful shot, his 7th goal of the playoffs. It came at 2:11 of the third period, made it 3-2 Kings. They went on to add an empty net goal, and the Kings win 4-2. They get their 6th consecutive win on the road in these playoffs, and their 6th consecutive win overall. That sets a Kings record. Hi, everybody. Bob Miller along with Jim Fox. Nice to have you joining us for this post-game show from Glendale, Arizona. Happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there. And the Kings moms are celebrating tonight or today.
They certainly are, Bob. You talk about a controlling fashion. This close to dominating by the LA Kings. And I know the score was tight all the way, but when we take a look at the goals later on and how the goals were scored by the Phoenix Coyotes, they were so opportunistic on their scoring opportunities. I think you can count on one hand the quality chances Phoenix had for the first 45 minutes of the game. Yeah. Certainly they had a few more after that. The bottom line for the Kings, the breakouts were almost flawless, except for a couple exchanges with the goaltender. They were flawless. Get out of the zone as quick as possible. The Kings did that. Then control the blue lines. The Kings controlled their own blue line, but they penetrated the Phoenix blue line, especially early on in the game, especially with the Kings' best players. And also the Los Angeles Kings, I thought, controlled the middle of the ice, especially in front of the net. You control those areas, you're going to win games.
Dwight King had 2 goals for the Kings here this afternoon, and right now he's with John Rosen.
Dwight, we want to set up the first of those 2 goals that you scored here this evening, 2-on-1 with Mike Richards. How did you get that puck in the back of the net?
First of all, I just kind of picked up a loose puck from pressure in our zone, and when I bumped it up to Richie, I looked up and seen there was nobody else going with him, so I gathered his speed as quick as I could, and obviously when you're going on 2-on-1, I just kind of held my stick ready, not knowing if he was going to shoot or pass, and made an unbelievable play by just laying off the pad, and the rebound was there for me.
This team is showing an awful lot of poise right now, and this team has also responded well. You look at the moment back in the first period, a 100-foot goal scored there by the Phoenix Coyotes. This team responds, comes right back, and continues to put the shots on net, 48 shots total. How has that poise, how has this collective ability to be able to respond, how has this lifted the team?
Yeah, it's huge for any team. Obviously, the game's not always going to go your way. There's going to be bounces here and there. Everybody's been through it in hockey. It's just a matter of mentally being prepared for that. Obviously, we know what the task at hand is, and everybody just refocuses. It's as simple as that, and we know they're going to continue to play hard.
Looking to game 2, coming up on Tuesday. What does this team have to do to continue to improve and come away with another road win?
Continue to be aggressive. Obviously, when we're aggressive, we created some opportunities, and we had some ozone time, and as long as we're doing that, we're creating good chances for ourselves.
Thanks so much, Dwight. Best of luck game 2.
All right, thank you.
Fellas, back to you.
Well, you know what, John? I agree with him. Bob, I agree with Dwight King right there. Stay aggressive. Right from the start of this game, the Kings were aggressive. Right at the start of the playoffs, the Kings were aggressive. They've been aggressive every single chance they've had. They've controlled on forechecks. They've never taken a back step. As Dwight was talking about, you're not going to win every game easily. It's never going to be that way. You're going to have bumps in the road, and the Kings had those. But how fast the Kings get back on the gas pedal, very important to go back at the other team. Another thing Dwight said right there, Bob, that play by Richards, he said, laid it off the pad of the goaltender. Sometimes that's a set play. You get into a situation where you realize it's a 2-on-1. The passing lane is taken away. You need the shot on goal. You know, big goaltender, get it off the pad, get the rebound.
48 shots for the Kings. That is not a King playoff record. They had 50 shots against Vancouver on May 13th of 1993, but it came close. And chipping in again, everybody on this team, and Dwight King with 2 goals. Let's take a look right now at the Hyundai highlights of this Kings victory.
Well, the air conditioning was working very well here at Jobbing.com because it was cold inside, but it was 106 outside. It was hot, and the Kings were certainly hot once again to get it off the start, especially the top players. The Kings' top players once again outplayed the top players from the opposition. Kings up on the rush. You have Doughty, you have Brown. It's going to kind of be a broken play, but that first period here, the Kings were so effective, especially Kopitar, Brown, and Williams. I mean, they kept the play alive a lot of times. They had the forecheck going, and there were a couple of shifts as far as body position where Kopitar was dominating. You can see Smith plays so deep. Kopitar, like a surgeon with the backhand right there, right to the top corner. So taking advantage of a deep goaltender after a strong forecheck. Now the LA Kings thought they had everything in control, and they were dominating at this point. Then, ouch. It just kind of gets it. Morris takes one step, puts it on net, didn't catch Quick going around to the back to stop the puck. It just looked like Quick was totally surprised and lost the flight of the puck, could not make the save, and the Coyotes, they feel good. They're kind of right back in it after being dominated by the Kings. Into the second period, We see the Coyotes get a little bit of a pressure through the middle. They did not penetrate that much all game long, but then right there may have been Brad Richardson laying down. Look at the 4 Kings get back into the crease to help out. One of the few times the play became scrambling for the Kings. Overall, I mentioned earlier, the Kings dominated the middle. Well, the middle's taken away right there because of the scramble situation. Smith around the boards. Pinch right there by Voynov. We're going to wind this one way back because you're going to see what's going to happen. Watch the pinch now of the Coyotes. Good reverse. The Kings were good all night. Watch 6. Schlemko pinches. No real support by the forward Brule. Brule gets caught going the wrong way. Wasn't supporting. Shot, pad, rebound. Dwight King just talked about that goal, but if the defenseman pinches, you've got to have solid support of a forward. Not the case. Clear cut 2-on-1 for the Kings, and they make the Coyotes pay right there. 2-1 Kings. Kings try to get it in deep. Picked off going back the other way. Here's what I was talking about earlier. Just a transfer. You see right here where Doughty has to kind of slow down. Vermette does a great job. The body position of Antoine Vermette right there. You see him just lean against Doughty, knock him off the puck. But because there was a little bit of a miscommunication on the transfer, the Kings could not leave the zone as quickly as they wanted to. That's one thing they did basically all night long. Leave the puck, get it out as quick as possible. Help by Williams, right to Voynov, and slash skating by Dustin Brown. The skill of that line, but also the smarts. Skating to the opening at the right time, and watch that pass. It's a perfect pass by Voynov. Right on the stick, leads Brown. Brown does not have to slow down, and then he goes over top of the pad, underneath the blocker. That's where goal scorers score nowadays, and Dustin Brown, maybe the best player in the entire playoffs so far, counting every team still remaining. Quick sees one right there. Then you'll see him get down low, paddle down, a little bit of a chop right into the middle. Lankow tries to get it going, but Quick does not allow a rebound. That's another theme for the playoffs. The Kings, very few second opportunities against. Change right here. The goaltenders pull. 3 players change. 3 players come on. Watch Willie Mitchell here. Bottom left. Stands up at the line. That's so important. Doesn't back off. King gets it. And because King was aware, he comes off the bench. He knows the goaltender's pulled. Doesn't waste any time. But the blue line's so important in this game tonight. It's just something the Kings did so well all night long. Everyone gets back usually to help out that middle of the ice. Another look right there. Kind of a fan situation. But it's just how the Kings reacted off the bench. And I'm going to bring up who the Kings sent out on the ice again. King, Stoll, and Lewis. You know, Daryl Sutter's gone to that line so many times in pressure situations right there. And even though King gets the empty netter, you get credit just for being on the ice in that situation. That's a head coach showing a lot of confidence in that line. And I really like the way, again, Willie Mitchell stood up at the blue line. The other team pulls the goaltender. So you're under pressure. Yeah. You know they have the man advantage, so to speak, but you don't back off. Stand up and break up the play.
For Dustin Brown, 7 goals in 10 games in this playoff year for him. And then the first period, the Kings got off to that big fast start that you talked about. Phoenix did not get their first shot till about 6 minutes in, and then it was a long shot. Then that other long shot was 89 feet, the goal from the red line at center ice. And then when he got it later, when Morris got it about, I don't know, maybe 170 feet, fans were hollering, shoot, shoot.
That's right. If it works once, maybe it'll work twice. And back to that early again, Bob, though, you have your best players showing that they might be the hardest workers. Yeah. Some of the shifts tonight by Brown, Williams, and Kopitar were textbook as far as spacing and physicality, but second, third, fourth effort. Skilled guys working hard.
Special teams. Kings penalty killing, excellent again. Power play, not so much.
Yeah, the power play took a while to get going. Their last power play for the Kings, okay, but before that, not much happening. Actually, on their last power play, felt the Kings had 4 quality chances. But what's been a strength of the Kings all season long, it has been the penalty kill. And there were times in this game where you had to get it going. What do you have to do? Well, you have to make sure the goaltender sees it. If he doesn't, you block it. And the Kings able to do that. Most of the time here you'll see it does get to the middle once, but never stays there again for the second opportunity. There's Doughty collapsing Richards, Dustin Brown involved. Good job right there taking away the middle of the ice. So the penalty kill was certainly strong. You see it tonight, perfect once again versus the Blues. Can't get any better. The Canucks, they allowed 3. What's going on? They allowed 3 power play goals against Vancouver. They can't handle it. Postseason, 93%. And it's part of that calmness, Bob, we've been talking about with the Kings. And John Rosen was talking earlier right there about the poise of the Los Angeles Kings and how it's going to happen. That poise sometimes comes from a situation like the penalty kill, where you're shorthanded, you're going to be under pressure, but there is a calmness out there. Yeah. Everyone trusts each other, and they get in the right position.
We've talked all playoffs long about Mike Richards stepping up his game here in the playoffs. He had an assist this afternoon in this Kings victory, and right now he's with John Rosen.
Mike Richards here. Mike, this team has won 6 in a row right now in the postseason on the road. This team has won 8 in a row overall on the road in the postseason. What is it that leads to all these terrific road-type performances?
I'm not sure. We're not doing too much. With the puck, we're just getting the puck in deep. We're creating a lot just with our forecheck and not trying to do too much east-west plays and try to just do a south-north game. But we're getting some lucky bounces right now. We're going to take it. We're getting some timely goals, and we still think we can be better. But they got a good team over there. We got to be ready for the next game.
This team is showing a ton of poise right now. This Kings team does not have that consistent playoff success. How do you build on that? How do you create something right now and show that poise to allow you to come in and win a game 1 here in Phoenix?
We're just building confidence with winning hockey games for the most part, and we ended the season pretty well, and then we carried that momentum right in the playoffs. And when you have confidence, you seem to be making more plays. Things happen a little bit slower on the ice, and everybody's working for each other, which makes things a lot easier for us instead of hanging each other out to dry. So we're just keeping it simple. Like I said before, we're getting some lucky bounces. Hopefully we can continue to do that, and we just have to be ready for next game.
Thanks so much, Mike. Best of luck in game 2.
All right, thank you.
Well, the Kings, as we look at the final score sheet, he wasn't on the score sheet today, I don't believe. I'm going to take a quick look here. Trevor Lewis, but he had 6 hits again. He's got 20 hits in the last 3 games.
And I was doing that live chat during the game, Bob, on LAKings.com, and I just pointed out a couple of times, you have to love the effort of Trevor Lewis.
Yeah.
And, he does force the opposition into making some mistakes out there because he's on top of you quick. He doesn't necessarily level you with hard hits, but he makes you feel uncomfortable because you can sense that speed coming at you, and you make a lot of mistakes. I've talked about domination, and again, you look at the scoreboard, empty net goal, only 2-goal margin. You might not think so, but some numbers right here. 48 shots on goal by the Kings, 17 missed shots, and 25 block shots by the Coyotes. That's 91 opportunities in the offensive zone. Doesn't get any better than that.
Right. I take that back. Trevor Lewis did have an assist. He assisted. He had the second assist on the first goal by Dwight King. Richards had the first assist. Lewis had the second. So, again today, here in Glendale, Arizona, a great team effort by the Kings. They take a 1-game-to-none lead in this best-of-7 series. And we will be back with more from Arizona. The Kings win it. Dustin Brown gets the game-winning goal. Back in a moment. Drew Doughty had his 6th assist in the playoffs here this afternoon as the Kings win 4-2 in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Let's listen to what Drew had to say about this game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we honestly did. If you just look around the room, look at the guys we have in this room and on our top lines, our top deep pairings, and then all the way to our 4th and 3rd deep pairing and both our goalies. We have so much depth on this team, so many great players, and all of us have heart and determination to win, and we knew that we just had to get our chance in this postseason, and we could do some damage.
So you're playing up to your capabilities at this point.
Yeah,
maybe something you didn't do most of the season. Or
no, we definitely did play that way during the season, but I think right now we're playing well, and but at the same time we still got a lot better. Tonight we had good spurts of good hockey, and then we had some bad spurts. So we need to make sure we put a full 60 minutes together if we want to, win that cup one day.
Drew, this was a tie game going into the 3rd period. This team came out, took that fight to Phoenix. What was said in the locker room going to the 3rd period that allowed this team to really go out there and carry the momentum at the play?
We just kind of had to forget about what happened in that second. They came out pretty hard at the end of it. They got that goal late, and we didn't want to get down on ourselves. We wanted to make sure that we got that one back, and we did a pretty good job at it. We came out hard in that 3rd. And didn't give him a lot of room to make plays and finish the body. And, I think it kind of took a toll on him, and we got in there and got a few in.
Also a terrific start to the 1st period as well. It really seemed that was going to be one of the efforts of the team, making sure that first shift of the game, this team was going to be obviously ready to play.
Oh, yeah, the first 5 minutes of the game, first 10, was so important, and that was our focus before the game started, was to be the fastest team out there, the hardest working team, be little pests out there, and the guys did a great job at that. But the only thing is after that first 5, we kind of shouted off, started trying to make too many plays, so we got to make sure that we're playing the way we did in that first 5 for the whole game.
Thanks so much, Drew.
Yeah.
Drew Doughty, a goal and 6 assists for 7 points in the playoffs, as he had another assist today.
And he was instrumental numerous times getting the puck out of the zone. Of course, he was the player caught back on that missed exchange along with Jonathan Quick, and he had to slow down. But I think what Drew Doughty has been doing very well, like the rest of the LA Kings team, is get back and keep it simple. Move it as quick as possible. That prevents the opposition from getting forechecks going. And then when you need it, you have to rely on your instincts. And this is near the end of the game right here. The Phoenix Coyotes trying to get things going. And what happens 2-on-1? Look at Doughty. Take away a pass. And at the same time, he forced the player right there in Langkow to kind of go wide, go wide, go wide. And he didn't get himself a good scoring opportunity. And that's about instincts there with Drew Doughty, because it's kind of a broken play. The puck is going away from your net. All of a sudden, it's going back towards your net. 2-on-1 quick. Now get your read. We'll take away the pass first. When the pass is made, get over, extend the stick as long as possible, and force that bad angle opportunity.
Kings have won 6 straight on the road this playoff year. They won 3 in Vancouver, they won 2 in St. Louis, and they won here in game number 1 here today. Dustin Brown, let's talk about him. Everybody's talking about he may be a candidate for the Conn Smythe Trophy so far in these playoffs. I'm just going to read some of the stats here. He's got 7 goals, 6 assists, 13 points, 7 goals in 10 games. 8 points in the last 5 games for Dustin Brown. And when you talk about the captain stepping up and providing the leadership on the ice, he is doing it.
You know what, Bob? I think he is, and I've watched enough games. I haven't watched every game, but I think he's been the best player in the playoffs so far. He's taken the bull by the horns. He's creating some production offensively, the physical play you're talking about. And it's just one of those things way back to the Vancouver series. Was that a turning point in that game? The big hit on Henrik right there to kind of set the tone. Dustin Brown's been doing that shorthanded against Vancouver. The speed and skill at top speed making it happen. Of course, he has the game winner. This is maybe the only game in that Vancouver series where the Kings were outplayed, but Dustin Brown's on the doorstep, and he puts it home right there, and the Kings able to hang on. So numerous situations, different types of situations. 1, 2, and right into the bench right there. Dustin Brown does not back off in the St. Louis series against Backus. Does the job. Speed, and there's a big goal right there. Just when it felt like the Blues might be coming back, Dustin Brown goes right top corner there over Brian Elliott. And of course, good play by everyone. Kopitar finally gets it to him, and it was fitting that Dustin Brown ends up with the empty net goal against the St. Louis Blues in that last series. And again, from looking at what happened tonight, Dustin Brown has not slowed down at all. Keep going. Here's that first play. The forecheck, the pass, bing, right on the stick. Can't say enough about Voinov. Also about Dustin Brown receiving a puck on his backhand. Hey, these are NHL guys. You should be able to do that. But watch this. On his backhand, controls right away, and his speed never did slow down. If he slows down there, Klesla's able to come across and take away that shot. He'll have the angle on him. But Brown was at top speed because of the pass and the reception, and he gets it done right there.
He was a +2 in this game tonight, so now he's a +11 in the playoffs so far this year. So Dustin Brown doing it on the ice for the Kings, and of course in the dressing room. Not a screamer or a holler, but everybody has said Dustin is being a real leader for this team right now.
And Bob, is that part of the calmness then of the Kings? Maybe that's part of the calmness. You know, you have things going where, you know, you have leadership characteristics, you have leadership styles, but sometimes when the pressure's on, it is important to just maintain your composure. Daryl Sutter's been talking about that. And it's interesting with Daryl because he brings so much emotion as a coach. At the same time, he recognizes the fact that you have to stay composed. So Dustin Brown, he goes out there, he gives it, but because he's not the rah-rah guy, maybe that creates a little calmness.
Well, the Kings have taken the home ice advantage away from the Phoenix Coyotes. Let's hear what Kings head coach Daryl Sutter had to say about this game.
Daryl, the pass of Voinov to Dustin Brown for the winner. And a lot of people don't know about Slava Voinov, but he's probably because you guys knew you had him in Manchester why you can trade at Jack Johnson, right? Can you talk about Voinov?
It's a good partner for Willie Mitchell. Right? Play the right side, move the puck, play against top players.
Good. You guys were obviously the aggressors tonight. You come out aggressive from the get-go. How important was that to set the tone and kind of take the crowd out of your hostile territory and so on?
You know, the Coyotes won both games at home prior series, right? It was really important that we had a good start. Not so much, it wasn't so much scoring or any of that stuff, just make sure we matched their start. And we were able to overcome a rare bad goal against us and just have the resilience to stay with it.
Darryl, your PK continues to be very impressive, and I know you don't like to talk about.
Yeah, we weren't very good at it early. You know what? And then we got better as it went along.
Is it the
key is stay out of the penalty box. I think there's lots goes into penalty killing. Face-off, shot blocking, clearing the puck down the ice. It's a big challenge obviously against these guys because the way Yandel moves back there and Larson moves back there and guys in the half wall, Whitney, and then they get the net presence. It's tough to handle. And then you got to be careful in your clears because Smith moves it back up against the wall.
Darryl, John Davis from the Hockey News. The play of Dwight King and the fact that you had the trust to put him out there late in the game.
We trust putting everybody out there late in the game.
Jill Painter, LA Daily News. Darryl, can you talk about the Morris goal from the red line? And I mean, I would imagine a goal like that rattle quick, but
I don't think it rattled him at all. As I said, it's a rare bad goal against them, and our team resilient enough just to play through it.
Jesse Spector from the Sporting News. The play that Dustin Brown makes to set up the Kopitar goal at the start, how important of a play is that, fighting his way through those three guys to get that loose puck?
I think it's an important play because Kopi scored. Don't you? If you wouldn't have asked, you wouldn't have said nothing about it. At the line in the first period had lots of good opportunities, didn't they? And that, because they scored, it sort of highlights it. But the line was really good in the first period.
Darryl, how are you feeling at 2-2? After the second period, you got 34 shots on net. You've dominated play, but it's still an even game.
It means we probably had lots of missed opportunities. And that's the way the game is too. You're gonna we've been on the other side of it too, where you're outshot 2-1, and we're on the other side of it. So that's the way it works some nights.
Darryl, you've coached some captains who are the emotional leaders and on-ice leaders. Where does Dustin Brown, I don't say rank, but just the way he's going right now, as that captain and emotional leader? Can you just touch on the way he played again tonight?
I think, the playoffs has been something for him that he's taken the next step, right? That's the key to it all when you see it. And right now he's a playoff type player because the way you have to play at playoff time. You think about the intensity and the controlled emotion, and he'd probably, if you said tonight, he'd like to have the penalty back in the first period, and he certainly covered his butt good by scoring the game winner.
Darryl Sutter, short, succinct, and at times humorous with his comments.
It was important because he scored. It's always important. It was interesting, the question was asked there about 2-2 after 2, and I felt the Kings found themselves in a catch-22 because they were dominating the play so much that you have to win. At the same time, when you give up 2 goals like the Kings did, you usually lose a game. Yeah. But it shows the resiliency and especially that road mentality. And Darryl talked about, guys on the ice in the last minutes of game. He has trust in everyone. You do get that feeling. Sometimes coaches will just say that. With Darryl Sutter, he proves it. He puts different guys in different situations, so everyone becomes a little bit more comfortable.
I don't know if we're going to hear from Jonathan Quick, but everybody, I'm sure, would like to know what did happen on that long shot. Did he think it was going to be rimmed around? It didn't look like it. He didn't move that way. Or did he just lose it in the crowd or what? I don't know.
I was looking for it too, Bob. Did it dip? Did it knuckle? Didn't look like that? Was it off a stick? Did it hit a skate? Just one of those things where maybe it just catches you in between, and all of a sudden that surprise factor with a long shot. It was a hard shot, but it's a stoppable one. Darryl brought up another good point. You've been kind of tracking him. I think it's only the second bad goal that Quick has allowed all playoffs long as far as the stoppability factor. Some goals go in, and goal tellers will tell you, I should have had that, but it's not necessarily a bad goal. Only 2 bad ones? Live with that.
Joining us when we come back, the Kings with a 4-2 win, Jarrett Stoll and Captain Dustin Brown. The Kings win it here in Phoenix 4-2 this afternoon. They have a 1-0 lead in this series. We'll be right back. Well, the sun's setting here in Glendale, Arizona. The Kings come up with a 4-2 victory in Game 1 of this series, and now, as we mentioned, have taken the home ice advantage away from Phoenix, just as they did away from Vancouver and away from St. Louis.
And I'm going to go back to the penalty kill that was talked about earlier, and I heard a couple of questions there for Daryl Sutter that he doesn't want to get into, but that pressure factor. I don't think the Kings are overly aggressive as far as running around and forcing, but they picked the right time. First of all, up the ice. The first forward for the Kings does a good job on his angle to create the opposition movement into a east-west, not north-south. And then the Kings stand up at the blue line. They don't back off unless the other team has a lot of speed. When the Kings will pressure is when they have you in a tight space. Down low in a corner, you'll have a forward and a defenseman, and even the other defenseman at times. 3 guys come across. In tight spaces, that's when they pressure. It's all about picking the right time. And right now and all season long, the Kings have been picking that right time on the PK.
You know, it was still nervous time for the Kings because as much as they were dominating this game, it was tied at the end of 2, and it looked like, boy, they're going to play this well and maybe not get a win.
You know what, Bob, in the press box, I was sitting right beside Kyle Clifford all game, and, you know, he kind of asked me right at that time, he said, what do you feel? I said, you know what, Kyle, all season long since Daryl Sutter's taken over, the Kings have consistently kept their foot on the gas. Yeah. And they've been able to do that. And, yes, it's up and down in the games. You're going to have mistakes and bad goals, all those things. But it really has not seemed to phase the Kings in the type of game they want to play, the style they want to play. That style doesn't always win either. You know, sometimes you're going to lose games because sometimes you're over-aggressive. But that aggressiveness right now, it's working perfectly for the Kings. And they seem to get the control of the game back and the momentum back by going back at the other team.
Kings are the #1 team overall in the NHL in the playoffs. They are 9-1, and they are #1 on the road. They are 6-0 on the road. We're going to take a look back at the way this playoff season started. It was in Vancouver, and the Kings won 2 games there.
That's right. The Kings going to Vancouver in game number 5. You had Trevor Lewis with a pressure 2-on-1, and bing, right off the near post, top shelf right there from Jarrett Stoll. I asked him after that, when did he become top blocker and not top glove? He said, go 4 minutes into overtime, and that's what it was. St. Louis, there's that goal we saw earlier. Huge goal. The Blues had a little feel to that game. Brown goes top glove against Elliott. Then Kopitar. What a player he's become, 200 feet of the ice. He gets his stick on this one before Pietrangelo can get there. If not, perhaps the Blues get a big one right there. Then Kopitar again to Dustin Brown. Dustin Brown with the empty net goal. We saw this earlier, but everyone working together, the top guys doing it. So, first series, Stoll with a game winner in Game 5. Dustin Brown took over like the rest of his line in the St. Louis series. And Dustin Brown again against the Phoenix Coyotes. The setting the tone, the playing physical, getting open. Little help here from Williams. Williams to Voynov again, that pass. And that slash skating is so important. I thought that happened all game long for that line. When someone felt they had to move the puck, someone was getting open. So it's not always the passer. Even though the Voynov pass there was just perfect, sometimes it's that receiver. Give me the puck. I'm open. I'm slashing across the ice. I'm getting to an open spot. So give me the puck and make it happen right there. And certainly Dustin Brown and his line mates were doing that tonight.
Well, here's what's ahead in this Western Conference Final Series. Tuesday night, we'll be right back here in Glendale, Arizona. 6 p.m., the Kings and the Coyotes in Game 2. Then we go back to Los Angeles. Staples Center, Thursday, 6 p.m. And then on Sunday, May 20th at noon. Get there early. There's going to be a lot of activity in downtown Los Angeles around Staples Center and LA Live. So get there early on Sunday. If necessary, Game 5 back here and then back in LA on the 24th. And if there's a Game 7, May 26th. Now, Jim and I are going to have a chance to meet some of you, and you'll have a chance to bring your own camera and get a picture. We'll have a Mike flag, Fox Sports West Mike flag, and you pay $10. The donation goes to Kings Care Foundation. That's going to be on Thursday, starting at What time?
4:30 to 5:30, 6 o'clock start, I believe, in Game 3 in Los Angeles. So for an hour, 4:30 to 5:3 in the Plaza, there'll be a Fox Sports. We're going to kind of set up like a backdrop, like you see when interviews are done, where you have that Fox Sports West backdrop. You'll have a mic flag. You have a chance to get in there. We'll pretend we're on TV, take a photo, and the big thing, raise money for the Kings Care Foundation.
That's our role right now, pretending we're on TV during these games. So we hope to see some of you come out at 4:30, and as Jim said, it's in the Plaza at LA Live across the street there on Thursday. So it should be fun. The Kings right now with a 1-game-to-none lead, 4-2, and a victory here in Glendale this evening. Brown and Stoll are going to join us here, and let's hear their comments on this Kings victory.
Dustin, was there ever a sense of frustration after the second, being tied at 2 with such shot disparity and the chances that you guys had?
No, we knew coming in. You watch Phoenix play. They got a really good goaltender, and part of our thing is getting as many shots as we can on him, make him work, make it hard for him. I mean, the more saves he has to make, the chances for us winning go up. But on the flip side of that, we understand that they're a very opportunistic team. They've won games in this playoffs getting 10 shots, 12 shots. They are very patient, very opportunistic. They get a chance off the forecheck, and it's 2-2. That didn't change our mindset. I think we're pretty well aware of how opportunistic they are.
Is that kind of nerve-wracking, though, to play in a game where you're constantly just maybe one bounce away from a tie or losing a lead when you're throwing that much at them, and what's being said on the bench to kind of push through that?
It's one of those things where at this time of year you gotta just stick with the game plan, execute, and things will fall into place if you work hard. And it's one of those things where we got to keep going with the type of offensive threats we had tonight. We had a lot of shots, a lot of traffic. They're going to get chances, and that's part of the game, and that's why we have a goalie as well. And we just got to keep on making it hard on Smith, and keep. The longer they play in their D zone, the tighter they're going to get, and over the course of a series, that's going to be to our advantage.
So the Kings win it. Dustin Brown with his comments on the Kings with a precarious lead and then getting tied and then have the lead on his goal in the third period, and they hang on for the 4-2 victory and a 1-game-to-none lead in this best-of-7 series. So a big evening for the Kings here in Glendale, Arizona, and Game 2 is going to be on Tuesday night. The Phoenix Coyotes are now 8-4 in the playoffs this year as the Kings congratulate each other after 4-2 victory. Dave Tippett, the former King assistant, is head coach here in Arizona. Here are his comments on this game.
I didn't see it as just a Kopitar line. I thought their whole team was better than our team. If you like Kopitar's game, he was a lot of them. We weren't close in that game. We got beaten every facet of the game, and hopefully we take some lessons from it and we can be better next game. That it?
Tyler Lockman with Fox Sports Arizona. That Brown Kopitar line, you've kind of been in sync really this whole postseason. Is there something you see with them right now that they're just kind of all on the same page?
No, I'm worried about our team. I don't. We got players that I have to worry about playing better, and not worry about Kopitar.
Dave, Joe McQueen of CBS 5 Sports. Just checking to see your thoughts on. They came out, kind of set the tone, out shooting their squad 16-4, big shot differential in the game. Do you feel the energy and effort was there from your team from the very start?
I felt like our execution was so poor. I bet you there was between 25 and 30 shots that they got in the game or attempted in the game. And early was a lot of it that we had the puck on our stick and it ended up on their stick and a shot on net. So the execution and the will to get things done is going to have to improve greatly if we're going to have a chance in this series.
Jerry Brown, NHL.com. Dave, right here. Looked like early in the playoffs you've had a couple of games like this and you were kind of able to sidestep it and win games this way, what was the difference for you guys? Was it just was it some of them and it was just so poor for you guys tonight, or you were able to kind of sidestep this and win some games?
As the playoffs go on, the bar gets higher and higher, and you have some players that can rise with the bar, and we didn't have enough guys rise with the bar tonight. And we had some games like this, but not to the point where we got outcompeted as bad as we did.
Coyotes coach Dave Tibbett. And Jim, that is similar to the comments we have heard from every head coach in every series so far, Vancouver, St. Louis, and now here in Phoenix, about the way the Kings have come out and outplayed their team.
And how the Kings are forcing the opposition to adjust their game to the Kings. That happened early in the Vancouver series. After Game 1, Vancouver changed up the line combinations. They changed up a few things. Of course, they didn't have Daniel sitting early, but they made some adjustments. Same thing after Game 1 against the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis flip-flopped center, so they made adjustments. So it's back to that issue where the Kings are forcing the game on the other team. The other team's going to the drawing board and say, you know what, we got to make some changes. That's always a good thing when the other team is adjusting to your team. Now, having said that, Dave Tippett knows, and I think the LA Kings know, that the Phoenix Coyotes will play better than they did tonight. Credit the Kings for forcing all those turnovers. Credit the Kings for controlling the middle of the ice and the blue lines. A lot of things the Kings get credit for, but Phoenix did look off their game. Dustin Brown talked about it earlier. Phoenix is much like the LA Kings were in the first half of the season. They're going to get outshot. That's their style, but they still believe they can win. But the Kings would not allow that tonight, kept going at them.
So the Kings win at 4-2, and they have a 1-0 lead in this best-of-7 series against Phoenix. The next game, Game 2, is going to be right here in Glendale, Arizona, Tuesday night, starting at 6 p.m., and we will have the post-game show on Fox Sports West right after that. For Jim Fox and John Rosen, this is Bob Miller. Thanks for being with us. Kings win it 4-2. Good night, everyone.